Well, hello and welcome everybody to the Heal It Show. This is your host, kendfoster. So glad you joined me today. We have a really powerful show today. We're going to be talking about how processed foods contribute or take away from our health, maybe how they are contributing to this health crisis. I think it's a really important subject. I have people all the time tell me they have low energy, or they're just, they have inflammation in their bodies, or they have, back energy, they got back pain, they got pain here and there, chronic pain. I said, where's all this coming from? You ever thought about what's the source of a lot of this stuff? Why is it that we have a obesity crisis in this nation? Why is it that diabetes has gone from virtually like nothing in the 1970s to an epidemic today in our world? Why? Well, this show is all about answering those whys. And today I have a couple of very special guests that are going to come on here, and we're going to talk about specifically the foods that you're putting in your body. And you want to pay attention to this, because if you're a person that has low energy, if you're a person that wants to step up and feel your very best, if you're somebody that has pain in your body, if you have things going on in your health, then this is a really important show to pay attention to. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a quick break, and then when I come back, I'm going to introduce you to both of my guests, and we're going to discuss how you can feel more alive, alert, well, and live a longer life. How cool is that? We'll be right back.
Do you suffer in pain? Are you stiff, tense, or less active than before? Introducing the EasyWell Remedy Massage System that combines the incredible effects of vibrational therapy, targeted deep tissue shiatsu massage, plus soothing infrared heat. A triple fusion of therapeutic experiences. Full body vibrational therapy increases blood circulation and reduces inflammation. Look at these beads moving from the powerful vibrational motors.
It's like 1,000 little fingers just vibrating my body from head to toe.
Infrared heat penetrates deep to reduce pain, soothe, and relax.
Remedy gets in there and helps deal with the source of the pain, so you feel much better.
The Ultra Shiatsu pillow with 6 infrared heated nodes mimics a professional massage. Plus, it's detachable for deep relief anywhere you need it.
It's just something that you're gonna have to feel for yourself.
Experience the true remedy for your pain and stiffness. Call now.
If you've been injured in an accident that's not your fault and you don't have an attorney, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to tell you what your case is potentially worth. Hello, I'm Gina, along with spokesperson Rob. Rob, tell the folks at home who should be calling right now.
Well, just like you said, Gina, anyone who's been injured in an accident that was not your fault, you don't have an attorney, give us a call right now, and we're going to let you know what your case is potentially worth.
Thanks, Rob. So what kind of calls have we been seeing today?
Well, Gina, we're getting calls from all types of accidents today. Work accidents, slip and falls, truck accidents, and most commonly, car accidents. So if you were injured in an accident that was not your fault, you don't have an attorney, take that first step, pick up that phone and give us a call. We're going to answer your questions, and we'll let you know how much money you can get for your accident.
Thanks, Rob. All right, folks at home, you heard it. Go ahead, don't hesitate, take that first step and call now.
Call 800-455-2790.
Have you ever felt leg pain, restlessness, cramps, tingling, swelling, numbness, itchiness, or coldness? Then you need the new, clinically proven Legzercise Pro, the natural circulation booster that uses continuous automatic leg movement to soothe pain and promote healthy circulation the natural drug-free way.
After using Legzercise for a week, I felt like I wanted to go for a walk again without pain like I used to.
Legzercise Pro's patented walking simulator propulsion technology moves your feet back and forth along its concave track, creating constant movement and flex at both the knee and ankle joints. It's like having a physical therapist right in your own home.
It's helped with the swelling and the pain. The tingling feeling is gone.
Call right now and order your very own Legzercise Pro, the clinically proven automatic leg mover that soothes pain and naturally promotes healthy circulation. Call now.
Welcome back, everybody. This is your host, kendfoster. I'm so blessed to be joined from my guests today. We got Dr. Katherine Reid and Dr. Barbara Price. Well,
thank you for having us. Thank you.
Both of you. It's great to have you. Yeah, your work is so important. So I'm very blessed to have you today. I like to kind of give both of you a formal introduction. Let me start out with Katherine Katie Reid. She's PhD. She's the founder of Unblind My Mind, Inc., a nonprofit dedicated to improving health through informed food choices. With a background in biotech, cancer, pharmaceuticals, she brings a wealth of scientific knowledge to her work on chronic inflammatory illnesses, which there are so many today. So welcome to the show, Katherine. It's so good to have you. And also we have Barbara Price. She's PhD. She is a science writer. She's an editor and has turned her passion for science into a career, helping to make complex scientific concepts accessible to all. Her experience let's see, where did I go? Oh, here it is. Her experience spans on climate change, protein biophysics, and educational content creation, and a whole bunch more. It's so good to have you.
Thank you
on our show. Thank you for being here. Well, I have a question. Before we get into the heart of the show, how did the two of you connect?
Or you want to tell the story? I'll tell the story. All right. Actually, it was really serendipitous. We both live in the Santa Cruz Mountains, and I was walking my dog in the mountains on a mountain trail, and I came across Katie's then husband. And, dogs kind of like bring people together, and we chatted briefly, and he said he'd learned I was a science writer, and he said, "Oh, my wife has this amazing story to tell, and so you have to meet her." And so that led to our collaboration, and actually life-changing for me because I learned so much from Katie about food and its relationship to health, and yeah, that's how we met. It was great.
That's great. Well, it's good that you're working together because, right now I believe the world is in a crisis, especially around the food industry, food management, food sciences that, in my estimate, has been taking it, we've taken food science to a level of, I'm not sure what's best for the consumer, but definitely what's best for the corporation. And that's a real challenge in American diet today, where we have people eating things that are formulated almost like a Frankenstein lab, and they're putting it in our food products, and people aren't aware of it, and they're eating it. And, we've got a crisis in our country, which I mentioned, around diabetes, around obesity, and, around chronic inflammation and so much more. So let's shed some light on this. Katie, let me start with you. Can you define the problem today, and then we can get into solutions? But let's define what the issue is here today.
Yeah. So, our book really specifically tries to raise awareness on a particular hidden ingredient in the food supply through the processing, named glutamate, or commonly known by MSG, or monosodium glutamate. And many people associate that with Chinese food and such. And so what people don't realize is that the processing of the food is enriching or fortifying for this free glutamate, or monosodium glutamate. Very heavily associated with all the chronic inflammatory conditions you were just mentioning, obesity, diabetes. And I started this whole journey with trying to help my youngest, who was diagnosed with autism, and realizing then that her diet was absolutely horrible. And, while I was going through the medical journey and trying to get support for her through this, medical journey, I thought, well, as a parent, I could probably start looking at, the foods. That's something that I can control. Now, there wasn't a lot about autism and food at that time, and still not a lot. But I started to really research the gut-brain connection and the foods and such, and really stumbled upon the association with glutamate and a lot of chronic inflammatory diseases, whatever we call them, whether it's autism, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. And that's how my journey took off. And it really is ultra processed foods, but it's really kind of, we've heard a lot about sugars and we've heard about a lot of the code names for sugars or fats, but a lot of people aren't, familiar with the processing of proteins creates this free glutamate. And as a protein chemist, I was able to really dissect into the deep dive into the processing of proteins and creating glutamate.
Okay, I'm clueless on the processing of proteins, and I think my audience is a little clueless there.
Yeah, let's dive in.
Let's talk about it. What does it mean to us as consumers? How is it done? Let's take a little dive into that real quick.
Yeah, so I'll take a common class of two proteins that's very common in not just American diet, but really modern diets. Gluten, the class of proteins found in wheat, and casein, the class of proteins found in dairy. And if you look at these proteins, they're widely consumed in the modern diets, not just America. And through the processing of like making breads or making these a variety of different, crackers and flours and so forth, we can break apart or degrade that gluten protein, creating free amino acids. And amino acids are the building blocks of proteins, just like sugars are the building blocks of carbohydrates. Amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. And when you start to degrade these proteins through the processing, whether it's fermentation or hydrolysis or a fat deprocessing, extreme heat and pasteurization, these things will start to degrade the protein and breaking them up into these free amino acids. Well, glutamate is a free amino acid. It's well known that if you break apart glutamate, it will create a bunch of MSG. That used to be the processing of how they made MSG in the food, is taking gluten and degrading it and making MSG. So they're very, the food processors or the manufacturers are well aware that this increases glutamate in the foods. Now,
and why did they do that? What's the point of this?
It makes the food addicting. It's all about stomach share. It's all about profits. It's about making you come back and eating that chip that you can't just eat one. It's addicting. It's neurologically the underlying mechanism to every single addiction that humans have is glutamate signaling. So if you eat glutamate, it's making you think that that food is the best food ever.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I get it. And there are a few things that I know I eat that, it's like I go to the store and it's like they jump in my cart, right? It's like, I'm like, how did I get home? I go, I didn't really want to have that. And yet there it is, right? The chips or even the popcorn sometimes. I'm wondering what's in the popcorn.
Especially the flavorings on there. They put a lot of yeast extract. A lot of people will associate those ingredients with health. No, a lot of that yeast extract contains a lot of glutamate. That's why it tastes fantastic to sprinkle it on your popcorn. And that's what's being done in commercial popcorns a lot.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're enlightening me. You're enlightening my audience. Okay. All right. Well, Barbara, what's your take on this? Why, what's the why behind, other than, I guess it's just profit, but what's the why behind this?
Well, you do increase profits when you have people coming back and buying your product. And also when they overeat. If that bag of chips was supposed to make it home and it doesn't, well, you go back and buy another bag of chips. And so so that's why, if you point to the obesity epidemic, it's not, when food has been formulated to make you overeat, you're going to overeat. That's, they tweak it. So it's just at the point where, the bliss point, where you are just loving it and you overeat. So that unfortunately is the reality of our food supply right now.
And this is a little off subject, but I'll throw it out there anyway. There's a company out there that is spraying now our organic fruits and vegetables with something called Appeal, APPEAL, supposedly a preservative. I don't know if we want to go down that route or not, but do they have these glutamates in that product, or do you know?
I'm not sure specifically about that, but there was something that they called OxyGrow that they kept changing names. That was a glutamate spray being sprayed on organic or non-organic foods. That was, supposedly for helping a preservative as you're getting it from the farm to the grocery stores. And that name of the company kept changing. So it was even hard to follow what the product name was. But these, sprays that they're putting on to kind of increase or improve shelf life is something to be watchful for. And I don't know the exact ingredients of Appeal, but again, anything you're putting on your foods that's not part of the food is
no, that Mr. Gates has invested in Appeal, and I do know it's showing up in stores like Sprouts and Whole Foods and things like that. So I do know aware of it, to say the least. All right, listen, I gotta take a break, but when I come back, I'd really like to know, and I bet my audience want to know, what products are these glutamates in? How do I identify them on a label? And what are some of the symptoms that are showing up, as a result of eating these products? So we'll be right back, and we'll answer those questions and a whole bunch more when we get back.
Do you suffer in pain? Are you stiff, tense, or less active than before? Introducing the EasyWell Remedy Massage System that combines the incredible effects of vibrational therapy, targeted deep tissue shiatsu massage, plus soothing infrared heat. A triple fusion of therapeutic experiences. Full body vibrational therapy increases blood circulation and reduces inflammation. Look at these beads moving from the powerful vibrational motors.
It's like 1,000 little fingers just vibrating my body from head to toe.
Infrared heat penetrates deep to reduce pain, soothe, and relax.
Remedy gets in there and helps deal with the source of the pain, so you feel much better.
The Ultra Shiatsu pillow with 6 infrared heated nodes mimics a professional massage. Plus, it's detachable for deep relief anywhere you need it.
It's just something that you're gonna have to feel for yourself.
Experience the true remedy for your pain and stiffness. Call now.
If you've been injured in an accident that's not your fault and you don't have an attorney, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to tell you what your case is potentially worth. Hello, I'm Gina, along with spokesperson Rob. Rob, tell the folks at home who should be calling right now.
Well, just like you said, Gina, anyone who's been injured in an accident that was not your fault, you don't have an attorney, give us a call right now, and we're going to let you know what your case is potentially worth.
Thanks, Rob. So what kind of calls have we been seeing today?
Well, Gina, we're getting calls from all types of accidents today. Work accidents, slip and falls, truck accidents, and most commonly, car accidents. So if you were injured in an accident that was not your fault, you don't have an attorney, take that first step, pick up that phone and give us a call. We're going to answer your questions, and we'll let you know how much money you can get for your accident.
Thanks, Rob. All right, folks at home, you heard it. Go ahead, don't hesitate, take that first step and call now.
Call 800-455-2790.
Have you ever felt leg pain, restlessness, cramps, tingling, swelling, numbness, itchiness, or coldness? Then you need the new, clinically proven Legzercise Pro, the natural circulation booster that uses continuous automatic leg movement to soothe pain and promote healthy circulation the natural drug-free way.
After using Legzercise for a week, I felt like I wanted to go for a walk again without pain like I used to.
Legzercise Pro's patented walking simulator propulsion technology moves your feet back and forth along its concave track, creating constant movement and flex at both the knee and ankle joints. It's like having a physical therapist right in your own home.
It's helped with the swelling and the pain. The tingling feeling is gone.
Call right now and order your very own Legzercise Pro, the clinically proven automatic leg mover that soothes pain and naturally promotes healthy circulation. Call now.
Welcome back, everybody. If you just joined us, we're speaking with Dr. Katherine Reid and also Dr. Price about the food industry and some of the do's and don'ts of what you want to put into your world, or at least be aware of it. I think ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is a real problem today in today's world. So it's good to educate ourselves on what's going on in the food industry. All right, now how do we know when glutamates, when the proteins have been modified, these glutamates are in our products? What do we?
Yeah, and that's where, you kind of started off the conversation with the ultra processed food industry. And, it really is the ultra processed, or the processing of the food. So if you pick up a head of organic cabbage or organic broccoli, you're not dealing with the fortification enrichment through the food processing with all these hidden sources of the glutamate. It's really the processing. So, gluten, like I said, if you're processing it and degrading it and it's going through fermentation or, some sort of hydrolysis process, you're going to have glutamate. All cheeses will have glutamate through the fermentation process. The more aged the cheese, the more glutamate that's going to be in that product. So those are some big ones. But honestly, like anything that has some sort of modified protein item in there, like whey protein isolate or hydrolyzed protein, soy protein concentrate. These are all going to have glutamate from the degradation or the processing of proteins. So, protein powders, protein bars, I think a lot of people in the United States are very protein obsessed with making sure they're getting enough protein. And our suggestion is get whole food protein sources like nuts, seeds, legumes, or organic chicken. That's a whole chicken that you can recognize as chicken, not like the chicken in the deli meat section that's gone through, processing and preservatives and so forth. So that's where it's at in our grocery stores.
Okay. So it's not just about buying organic products anymore. I used to buy organic products and I thought I was safe, right? I got organic chips or organic I don't know, whatever. And I thought they're safe, but I wondered, I questioned that. So these glutamates are in everything, and it basically.
Yeah. So for example, like, organic potato chips, you could have just 3 ingredients where it's organic potatoes, sea salt, and maybe some sort of nice oil. Okay. That's going to be a heck of a lot better, cleaner than something that can still say organic potatoes. It'll still be labeled organic potato chips, but it might contain some barbecue flavoring, or, even pepper potato chips. They'll usually add yeast extract or yeast, some sort of product there where they're adding MSG to that. And so it starts to becoming layering into the flavoring elements of a bunch of different products where it looks clean. It's labeled organic, but they're adding MSG to make that, like Barbara said, so that you're buying 2, 3, 4 bags of potato chips.
I'm wondering, and Barbara, I'm wondering if you know this. What are the symptoms that you're getting this MSG in your?
You can have various kinds of symptoms. I mean, and that's why it's glutamate acts broadly in the body, and so the symptoms are broad. I mean, you can have a headache. You can feel anything that's inflammatory. Aches. Nervousness, sleeplessness. One of the things, before we leave this topic, I want to say that you don't really have to be a protein chemist to understand when you're reading labels that if you are, when you're going to the grocery store, if you just, as Kitty said, you just buy, like say, tomato sauce. If you just have the ingredients are tomatoes, salt, maybe oregano, specify not just spices, but the specific spice, that's what you want to find. And so, so anyway, but no, Katie can talk a lot about that because she actually.
I think. What about a lot of things are labeled natural?
That's a big one. Natural flavors. Yeah, natural flavors is a big catch-all and can actually include MSG. And there's no regulation that when you say natural flavors, I mean, it sounds like you're thinking, oh, essence of fruit, but not the case. I mean, in a sense, MSG is considered natural because it's produced in, the body, it's produced in, it is produced in fruit. So if it can be added to the food supply under natural flavors, and you never know it's actually MSG.
For me, when I first became aware of MSG, it was eating Chinese food and the soy sauce, and they would have soy sauce, light soy sauce, or MSG soy sauce. And when I would put the MSG soy sauce on, I would shake. I would literally get this shaky feeling in my body, which was the first sign for me. I went, "Oh, something's off here."
Yeah.
Right. And then I identified MSG, but that seems like that might have been a heavy dose, but we're getting a lot of MSG over a lot of different foods.
Yeah, so when you mention symptoms, like Barbara said, it's a lot of inflammatory symptoms, and I work with a lot of clients who are facing a lot of chronic inflammatory symptoms, where with the autism world, these young adults or kids or even older adults who have been diagnosed with autism, because glutamate is a neurotransmitter, meaning it's activating your nervous system and signaling your nervous system, it can be even neurologically linked to inflammation if you are going into that stress response or survival response. And you think about the neurodivergent brain, as we call, people who are diagnosed with autism, that they have a different neurological wiring in the brain than that which is neurotypical. The neurodivergence really is helping them with a survival skill. They are more prone to fight, flight, fear, fawn responses. And you think about like anxiety, similar sort of thing. They're very prone to fight, flight, fear, fawn responses. Well, if you have something that's activating your nervous system and is correlated with running away from the tiger, or, thinking about how to, plan or your survival, these are just going to be extra accentuated to the point where you're not really functioning. You literally are thinking the tiger is chasing you constantly. And so it's amazing how much that neuroactivation, neurological excitation impacts so many different things. Depression, they even have a glutamate-based depression category.
Wow. Well, we have an epidemic of ADD, ADHD in our children, and I am taking what I'm hearing right now is this is if it's not the cause, it's definitely increasing the anxiety within these children. Is that accurate or not?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, there might be some sort of genetic component with, how our brain is wired. But you think about like the first feedings and, some of the environmental stresses, even with giving birth that we're having with so many newborns, that then you're feeding them, some of these baby formulas or, then some of these very processed foods early on, that it is, whetting their palate towards eating processed foods, almost banking on more and more processed foods being consumed as they're growing older and into adulthood. But absolutely, the foods are contributing to every single chronic inflammatory condition our country is facing.
And I would add that the statistics said that 66% of calories consumed by our youth is from processed and ultra-processed food.
Whoa, 66%, right?
And that's adult too. I mean, so
right.
Moorbach, did a study through Canada and the United States. We're majority of foods consumed are ultra processed.
Well, and I think this information is so vital because honestly, I think, people are out there thinking they're eating healthy and they and they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger and they don't know why, right? They just don't get why I am gaining weight or why is my child gaining weight. And, it's funny. I went to India, right? I just came back from India. I was there 25 days. And quite frankly, we ate like 4 times a day. I thought I was going to come back and weigh a whole bunch more. Had I eaten what I ate in India, the amount of food here in the United States, I would have definitely gained probably 15 pounds. I didn't gain it over there. And I was like, this is very interesting. My body is processing this food easily. It's going through. I ate more than I should, but everybody was feeding us. But But I came back and I thought, wow, that's very interesting. When I got on the scale, I was kind of amazed, right? So there's something in the food. We all know it. We just didn't know really what it is, right? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And I do hear that a lot from clients who were born in a different country and came into the United States. We call it the freshman 15 when, people go off to college, that they're gaining, 15 pounds when they go off to college and eating the dining room food. Well, we have the US 15. As soon as you move to the US, you're going to gain 15 pounds, because of the ultra processed foods.
The ultra processed foods. Interesting. I have a question for you too. Are they putting these this MSG, this glutamate in drinks also, in different drinks like energy drinks or coffee drinks, or are they adding that?
Yeah, especially, so we point out in the book, the protein powders are a big one because, again, you've got protein as being a huge source of the calories in some of these protein powders. They're often degraded, and then they're adding natural flavors in addition, which, Barbara spoke about. The natural flavors can also be, 4,200 patents that are disguising MSG in natural flavors ingredient label. And then the energy drink. So if they have some sort of protein source, so if it's like whey protein concentrate or, some sort of, vegan protein, anything that says some sort of isolated protein in any sort of energy drink, protein drink, yes. And then even something like tea, they'll put natural flavors in tea. And so it's making the tea taste good. So even just with, sourcing tea, you just want to make sure it says hibiscus organic, flowers or something, and nothing that says natural flavors on there. And there's some pretty high expensive end teas that have natural flavors in every single one of their products.
Wow. All right. Well, I guess my next question is that what do we eat? What do we eat? Yes. I'm going to throw that over to Barbara. What do we eat?
Well, the easiest thing to eat is bottom line, whole foods. And so back to the reading labels and like buying pasta sauce. If you can't make your own pasta sauce, would you buy something? Buy something that has the fewest ingredients possible, and ingredients that you recognize. And it's not hard. I mean, one of the arguments against limiting the amount of processed food is people say, well, I can't cook home, I can't cook at home 3 meals a day, right? It's too much time, but it's not really. In our book, we give recipes and food plans and they're basically shopping lists too for managing food at home. And honestly, if you when the kids are circling the kitchen and you're trying to get food ready, put out cut broccoli, a dip. It's just these things. And if you're hungry, they'll eat it. Carrot sticks. And it's actually, when you cook food in bulk and then maybe freeze some, it's actually quite easy, a lot faster and healthier than buying a stack of processed food ready to eat.
Yes, I got to take another break. We come back. I want to talk to you, my audience, about your book so they can get the information we're talking about and they can read about it and take a deeper dive in. We'll be right back.
Do you suffer in pain? Are you stiff, tense, or less active than before? Introducing the Easy Well Remedy Massage System that combines the incredible effects of vibrational therapy, targeted deep tissue shiatsu massage, plus soothing infrared heat. A triple fusion of therapeutic experiences. Full body vibrational therapy increases blood circulation and reduces inflammation. Look at these beads moving from the powerful vibrational motors.
It's like 1,000 little fingers just vibrating my body from head to toe.
Infrared heat penetrates deep to reduce pain, soothe, and relax.
Remedy gets in there and helps deal with the source of the pain, so you feel much better.
The Ultra Shiatsu pillow with 6 infrared heated nodes mimics a professional massage. Plus, it's detachable for deep relief anywhere you need it.
It's just something that you're gonna have to feel for yourself.
Experience the true remedy for your pain and stiffness. Call now.
If you've been injured in an accident that's not your fault and you don't have an attorney, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to tell you what your case is potentially worth. Hello, I'm Gina, along with spokesperson Rob. Rob, tell the folks at home who should be calling right now.
Well, just like you said, Gina, anyone who's been injured in an accident that was not your fault, you don't have an attorney, give us a call right now, and we're going to let you know what your case is potentially worth.
Thanks, Rob. So what kind of calls have we been seeing today?
Well, Gina, we're getting calls from all types of accidents today. Work accidents, slip and falls, truck accidents, and most commonly, car accidents. So if you were injured in an accident that was not your fault, you don't have an attorney, take that first step, pick up that phone and give us a call. We're going to answer your questions and we'll let you know how much money you can get for your accident.
Thanks, Rob. All right, folks at home, you heard it. Go ahead, don't hesitate, take that first step and call now.
Call 800-455-2790.
Have you ever felt leg pain, restlessness, cramps, tingling, swelling, numbness, itchiness, or coldness? Then you need the new, clinically proven Legzercise Pro, the natural circulation booster that uses continuous automatic leg movement to soothe pain and promote healthy circulation the natural drug-free way.
After using Legzercise for a week, I felt like I wanted to go for a walk again without pain like I used to.
Legzercise Pro's patented walking simulator propulsion technology moves your feet back and forth along its concave track, creating constant movement and flex at both the knee and ankle joints. It's like having a physical therapist right in your own home.
It's helped with the swelling and the pain. The tingling feeling is gone.
Call right now and order your very own Legzercise Pro, the clinically proven automatic leg mover that soothes pain and naturally promotes healthy circulation. Call now.
Hi, this is your host, kendfoster. I'll be right back with my guest, Dr. Katherine Reid, and do the Barbara Price in just a second. I want to mention this to you, my audience. This show grows because of you. So if you are receiving valuable information today, which I know you are, please pass it on to a friend or somebody you care about, a loved one. Go to our YouTube channel and like us and let people know about the show. That's how we grow. And that's how we change consciousness. That's how we all become conscious so we can make the right choices. Today, we're talking about food choices, the right food choices so that you can live healthy with vitality and lots of life. All right, back to my two guests. This is an amazing conversation. They have a brand new book out. I like to put the book up on the screen. And when I do that, Barbara, we're probably going to cover you up for 1 minute, but I know you're still there. So I'm going to just put that up here, and here we go. All righty. So, all right. So, Katie, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what Fat, Stressed, and Sick. I love the name of the title. Unfortunately, that's where we are in this country, and it permeates around the world in certain degrees. What?
Yeah, like I said, I started off my journey when my youngest was diagnosed with autism and, really kind of feeling not very empowered and, wanting to make a difference, with her life, her quality of life that really impacted the entire family. The changing of her diet and really discovering this connection with glutamate was like a game changer. Absolute game changer, to the point where like she was not speaking in full sentences at 3.5, 4 years old. And, just blossoming in language, imagination, creativity, got kicked out of her special needs school and really lost her diagnosis with autism, through her primary schooling and middle school and high school. So I really felt I really want to help other people. I mean, to think about how many people are struggling with the quality of life because of something they're eating and not knowing it's what they're eating that's contributing to their chronic inflammatory conditions. I was like, I can make a difference. So the book, and, thankfully I met Barbara, that helped me put this to, paper and really kind of contribute to getting that message out there in lay terms, because I do like to dive into the science. And, really kind of saying, these green smoothies that I'm advocating and that my family used to make fun of me and my work, when I was working in biotechnology, they would make fun of me of bringing my green sludge into these meetings. And I'm like, yep, And they're like, oh, I'm not going to drink that unless I'm spiking it with vodka. And I'm like, it's 9 a.m. But, we just came up with, this article that it was awesome. It said, talking about green smoothies and how it reduces oxidative stress and reduces the toxicity due to glutamate. And I'm like, it's almost as if I just wrote that study. So we have plenty of smoothie recipes in the book too, to kind of help guide people. Here's the issue. Here's how it's impacting you. And here's what you can do about it. And so, it's been a game changer. Like, Barbara said, she's got the most beautiful vegetable fruit garden I've ever seen in this area. It's just a local kind of thing. And so I just love inspiring people to eat better, because I like to be with happy people. And if people are sick, they're just not very happy. They're not very conscious. They're focused on their pain body.
Well, let me ask Barbara too. And by the way, Barbara, I think, and I read in your bio, one of the things that you're gifted at is being able to take very scientific concepts, protein science, and be able to put it into practical terms that we can all talk about. Barbara, I'm going to have you move over just a little so you can see you to your left. I think it is. The other way. Here you go. Yeah, and let's talk about that. Your why for this book and why what will benefit from my reading.
I've always loved science, and I always felt that if people could look at the world through a more scientific lens, it's like taking a art course and then looking at the Mona Lisa. I mean, looking at a piece of art, you appreciate it so much more. And a lot of people are getting a lot of information off the internet now about, like, they are diagnosed with something and they go online to figure out what's going on. And so often you don't have the background or the language, or even, you don't even know what the terms mean. So in the discussion of how glutamate underlies inflammation and can make you sick, what we tried to do is describe it in a way that you could take that. We have sections called short course in inflammation, short course in this, or if you want, it's where you actually get a really basic, the fundamental science that will allow you to understand what you read online and what you hear from your doctor, and how and the information you need to make your own decisions. Because often you'll see information. Right now, there's a big push from some groups that say, ultra-processed foods can be a part of a healthy diet. Honestly, this is true. There's an article in Time magazine last month that was all about. So with this, now we're getting a counter message. Ultra-processed food has been identified as a villain underlying health, and now we're getting a counter message that, it's maybe not so bad. So the point is, get information out there that people can understand, and that helps them make their own decisions.
I love it. Well, I love that. And I think, be aware, when somebody's done the research and the science, and they look at the science, and then you have an article that says, the science is moving the science. I think you have to question who became that article.
Actually, I would say,
right.
And I would add that the statements that are made in the book, we have 75 pages in the back of the book of references of peer-reviewed scientific articles. We don't just say stuff. Everything that is stated there is referenced and is valid. And so when people say, that, science isn't clear, people are disagreeing. No, not really. No, they're not. No, they're not.
Yeah. Well, and from my point of view, I've been a coach for 30 years. I just tell people, look at your results. Okay, it's very simple, right? If you don't like the results beginning with the size of your body, or your weight, or how your energy, or your health, your vitality, there's a reason for that. And I think in this society, we're so dumbed down in some areas that people really think that they can't change. The truth is, with education, with commitment, you can change just about anything, that you can heal almost anything too. almost anything.
I totally agree. And, and I do think we have a little bit of a wall with our medical system. I'm not going to just say doctors, but the medical system, where a lot of doctors are saying, oh, food has nothing to do with this. Food has nothing to do with this. And they'll be even talking about gastrointestinal issues. Oh, this has nothing to do with food. And I really do think, first and foremost, everybody should be asking, what are you eating? And seeing, like you said, the pudding, are you feeling better? Are you feeling more energy? But people can also say, okay, I was just diagnosed with X disease, and go on to Google Scholar and put your disease like diabetes and glutamate, or heart disease and glutamate, or pain and glutamate, ADHD and glutamate, autism and glutamate, Alzheimer's and glutamate, and see if you can find your connection. It's there. And we put it in the book, but it's like, if you don't believe, that glutamate is a health issue, just go to the direct sources yourself and you'll see it in the scientific literature everywhere. That's why glutamate blocker drugs are such a...
Hey, here's the thing. Everything counts. Everything counts, okay? What you're putting in your mind, what you're putting in your body, what you put, whether you're exercising or not, whether who you're hanging around, your environment, everything counts.
Everything counts. Absolutely.
Everything counts, right? Okay, and what we're talking about today is, people talk about they want to become enlightened. Well, we're enlightening you today, okay? We are bringing light to a subject that is under the covers, right? People don't, I tell you, the food scientists don't want you guys pointing out that, hey, by the way, we are hydrogenating the proteins or whatever they call it, and we are doing that so that you will be a little more addicted and you will buy more of our product. I mean, who wants to put that out in the world, right? But we need to talk about it because it's impacting our health, our children. Our children are some of the sickest children in the world right now today. Our birth rates, the 1-year survival rate for infants in this country today is that, last I looked, we were at number 34 in the world, in nation, right? Our kids don't survive the year, okay? There's a lot of kids that die. Why? Because they're getting these massive processed foods into their bodies early on. It's hurting them. It's killing some of them. And we're pretending like everything's okay. No, everything counts. We have to look at everything. Yeah. Okay. Where do people get that amazing book? Where do they get their?
So you can order the Unblind, or the Fat, Stress, and Sick, MSG, Processed Food, America's Health Crisis. You can order on Amazon, and I do work with clients also. It sounds like you're a coach also. Unblindmymind.org. And it is interesting that you talk about the thoughts. There is some sections in the book talking about how we become addicted to our thoughts. And that is through a glutamate signaling pathway that you are neurologically wired to these thoughts. And you can be addicted to positive thoughts or negative thoughts based on how you're training and practicing what those thoughts are. And that kind of talks about this whole better energy, better thinking, better life is, being addicted to good thoughts, good people.
People create the right. Good for you. I've been coaching for 30 plus years, and I'm a life coach. I'm also a business strategist, and it's interesting. I lead with business. You lead with health, but ultimately it has to do with what we are. The mind is the cause of our bondage to suffering and pain. And the mind's also the cause of liberation. So if we really get into it, we can start to go into the mind and understand I love what you were just saying about the addictive part of that. But, we get choice, we can choose, but eventually we become, if you're not choosing properly, you can get addicted to anything, including negative thoughts, which is what Katherine Reid is saying about. So. Love this conversation. Now, y'all ought to come back sometime, and we should have a little deeper conversation about not only the mind, but some of the other topics. I love this conversation. I want to thank both of you for being.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for adding us.
It's a really good discussion. I think a lot of people need to be enlightened around it. So I hope you guys, maybe you two do your own show sometime, Might be time.
Yeah, I've considered it. I definitely have considered it. Just getting people on with talking about how their food journey has gone and what they, noticed and such. And I've thought about it. As soon as this book makes $1 million, million kind of readers hits that.
Well, I hold that millions of readers read this book and become enlightened because we need to take a new course in our thinking and what we put into our bodies and what we ultimately experience in this world. Where a lot of people are cutting their lifespan short and they don't even know it. And others are just creating a lot of suffering in their life, and they don't know that either. So this book helps enlighten people so that they don't have to keep going down that path. All right. Well, thank you so much again for being here. And
thank you so much, Ken.
Thank you so much. And I want to thank all of you, for joining me today on the Heal It Show. If you like this show, as I mentioned earlier in the show, please pass it on to people that you care about and love. That's how we grow this show, and that's how we all together rise up out of the ashes, in this case, of eating the wrong things, and start to feel better about everything that we do. Till next time, have a blessed week, and I hope you'll tune in to next week's show.